How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age comics. Now, the hero that I'm going to review today, I really don't have a good way of describing it. This comic book has ADHD. It actually makes my ADHD look mild by comparison. And yes, I do have a pretty severe case of ADHD, which often makes me go off on tangents which have nothing to do with the source material and the conversation that I'm having. I don't do that here. I may go off on tangents, but it always has something to do with what I'm talking about. This comic does not know what it wants to be. The beginning and the end of the story couldn't be more different from each other. I actually had to reread this a couple of times, going back a few pages, because I thought that I missed something, and I didn't. It's stupid. Now, there are times when I give some Golden Age stories a pass, saying this was the 1940s, this was probably a product of its time. I'm not going to give that excuse to this comic book, because some of the stories, the storyline in here, it's stupid. One of the storylines, it wasn't anything surprising. I knew where it was going before it even got there. Some of the other stuff, it was just dumb, and that's probably why it only lasted a few issues. Now, I thought that I had the first issue. I don't. I think it's the second issue. So I'm going to review what was in this comic book. We're going to go over the superhero, his powers. We'll go over how deranged the story is. It's not the worst comic I've ever read. I've read some truly horrible crap, but this, it's not bad. It's just insane. So we'll go ahead and review what I got, and we'll go over the stories. He's basically Superman from another country. So here we go with Cometman. Okay, Cometman first appeared in Australian comics in the Invisible Avenger comics. It looks like it was number 23. I actually was able to see issue 24, so that's the one we're going to talk about. He is a superhero, and he seems like he's a little bit of an asshole. Okay, in this issue, he shows that he has arrived in New York. And he gets on top of the building, and apparently a number of people had come to see him, and he's like, hey, I'm here in New York. And then we cut away to, I assume, some movie producers. They want to start making movies, and they want Cometman to be a part of it. This will not come up again, except for these few pages. Now, they have no idea how to find him or to get him to sign the building. So it looks like they hire this gangster, and they offer him $100,000 to get Cometman to sign. Now, that's a lot of money in the 40s. I'm not sure how much it adjusts through inflation nowadays, but it is a lot of money. I mean, even today, $100,000 would be a lot of money. They take a helicopter, and they find Cometman is on top of a building. And apparently he's talking to pressmen. They don't call them the press, they don't call them the media, they say pressmen. So you can obviously tell this isn't an American comic, even though it's taking place in America. So these gangsters, for some reason, they open fire on the rooftop where Cometman and the pressmen are. Now, apparently the bullets bounce off of Cometman, so we know, and he's bulletproof, and we know that he can fly because he flew to the top of the building. So the gangsters are shooting at the crowds of people. Now, I didn't realize they were shooting at the crowds of people. I thought they were just shooting at Cometman, which I thought was really stupid. The bullets bounce off of Cometman, and then they capture him in a net. And as they try to fly away with him, Cometman breaks out of the net and says, "You deserve to die for killing those pressmen." So apparently they opened fire and they killed a number of people on the buildings. How any of this equates to getting him to sign a contract to be in the movies, I don't even begin to understand. Oh yeah, the asshole part I was talking about is when he's talking to the press, he's like, no, I'm not going to tell you what any of my plans are or why I'm here. It's just... Anyways, he cripples the aircraft, it crashes in, and it kills the henchmen that were opening fire with the gangster, but the main gangster survives. And we get into the next part of the story. The bit about the movie doesn't even come into play again. So we cut to the next day. There's a rival gang that hears that this first gang has been wiped out, and he says, great, now we can start getting all of our beer on the market with this other gang out of the way. Just how it starts. And they start flooding the beer into Harlem. And we cut to two police officers talking. I'm guessing one of them's the chief of police, and he says, and this is quote for the word bubble, he said, over 30 Negroes have died drinking the beer. Now, I don't think saying it that way is offensive, but that is what it says. I'm quoting. This isn't my words, it's a quote. And then, as his whole thing with the beer goes out, I guess the cop's on his way home, and we find that a building is on fire. And Cometman flies into the rescue, and he starts saving several women. It even states that Cometman saves several women from the fire. And then it says, as he saves the rest of the people, apparently the roof collapsed on the building, and he was able to blow it out with his super breath. Then one of the cops wants to talk to Cometman about the bootlegging operation that was going on. And I don't know why we're talking about bootlegging in the 1940s. Bootlegging happened in the early 1900s, not the 1940s. My mistake. It's the 1950s. I'm so used to doing 1940s golden age. We're doing like edge of golden age, edge of silver age type of review here. So, like I said, Prohibition ended in 1933. I don't know why they would be doing bootlegging in 1950. Maybe that was something to do with Australia. Anyways, we cut to the gang members getting ready to do their bootlegging operation, and then all of a sudden Cometman flies in. Now one of them shoots bullets at Cometman, which obviously we saw earlier it doesn't work. And one guy's like, oh no, we've emptied the gun and he's still alive, and he stops both of the trucks. He stops one of the trucks in his tracks. He picks up one of the truck and tosses it into the river, showing that he's got exceptional strength. And then he disables the other truck, and the gangsters that aren't captured jump into the river and they swim away. And Cometman's like, I taught them a lesson. And we cut back to the policeman and the commissioner, and they want to recognize Cometman for the work that he has done. So they decided to have a masquerade ball and invite Cometman. Now, the criminal from the shooting teams up with the bootlegger criminals, and they mentioned the $100,000 that they could get, and they team up to go to the masquerade ball. Now, while in disguise themselves, they sit there and they wait for Cometman to show up. Soon he does show up, and they all get to the drop on him, and they now come unconscious, and they take him out of the party. And then a square in the corner, that does its own little narrating, goes, what happened to Cometman super strength? And the very next page, Cometman shows up and is talking to the police guy, and he goes, what happened to you? You just disappeared. And he goes, disappeared? I only just arrived. And they found out that the the criminals walked off with the other Cometman, and Cometman's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Let's go find them. So he grabs the police officer's hand, and just like that, they both take off flying together. I'm not sure how his flying ability works, but they see that they're going to drop Cometman. They have a rock tied to this Cometman, and they're going to drop him in the river, the same place that they stopped the bootlegging at, because it's symbolic. The Cometman knows where they're going, so he flies the police officer over there, and I guess they did mention the movie guy one more time. My ADD distracted me from their ADD, and he goes, hey, why don't we just turn this guy over to the movie people? We can make money. And the main criminal is like, no, he's done too much damage. He must die. And just then, they see Cometman. He shows up. He knocks the bridge over, and everybody falls into the river, including Cometman, who's tied to a rock. He rescues the guy tied to a rock, and it's revealed that this guy dressed up as Cometman for the masquerade ball. Dress up party ball, whatever. I don't think they called it masquerade, but it's dress up in costume. So the Cometman pulls the criminals out of the water, and he says that I will take them to jail. And he shows how strong he is by grabbing the collars of 3 criminals in each one of his hands. So he takes 6 of them off, and he flies off in the distance, and it says, stay tuned to the next issue for more tales of Cometman. But he only appeared in 4 issues. It's an insane jump. We start with movie people to roof shooting to wanting to flood the market of beer with bootlegging, which shouldn't exist in the 50s, to a building fire, to stopping the bootlegging, to a masquerade ball, to stopping the criminals trying to kill Cometman. Who they grabbed the wrong Cometman anyways. The tracks of this story link in the sense of the story, but it's totally insane, the shift that this thing goes through. Okay, I know my voice sounds a little hoarse. This is what happens when you yell at football games. I don't know what I'm doing for the month of November, but I think for the month of December, I want to go and do a couple of top 10 lists, which I haven't done for a while. I'm going to try and mix it in with Golden Age and top 10s. I have an idea of something I want to do. So that's what I'm going to do for December. November, I'll play it by ear. Probably just do some Golden Age heroes based off the heroes that you thought you knew list. There's a couple of those guys I'd like to do more in-depth reviews on. So I hope you enjoyed this video. One more for foreign superheroes. Until next time, I'll be seeing you.